2, 1, 3, 6, 8, 10, 9, 8, 4, 2, 1, 3, 7.
Hello.
Are we actually live?
Welcome. We are actually live.
God damn. Kind of cringe, but okay.
I'll bet you're wondering who these two clowns are.
Speak for yourself, I'm no clown. The whole fucking circus act.
What does that even mean?
Well, I'm not gonna explain the joke. You either get it or you don't. You don't get it. David, I am disappointed in you.
I'm disappointed in you.
So what's happening, everyone? Welcome to the stream. We're playing Half-Life 2. We're gonna finish off where we left off last time. David didn't send me the fucking stream, so I'm gonna have to go and find the link myself.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
There we go.
I'm on my home Wi-Fi, which is like really not good. So I don't think I should
what are you doing on your phone?
Wi-Fi by streaming and going live at the same time.
So why are you on your phone?
That's not going to make any sense to like the audience members. So, but hopefully it makes sense to.
It makes sense to me. I know what's going on.
Our friend Xavier Mendoza, who's the other person in this chat right now.
Hello, I'm Xavier Mendoza.
I make videos about Spider-Man.
Watch my videos on Spider-Man. I don't make alien videos. What? Alien videos? Me? Never. I don't like the horror stuff. Very bad, very stinky. I think we should stop shitting on him now. But yeah, Xavier couldn't join us today. He's dealing with something.
He has family issues that we're not going to bother him about, so...
Well, I don't know if it's family issues. He just said that he's dealing with something.
I'm projecting, but...
Well, don't give the audience false news. That's fake news right there. Fake news. He's CNN.
I am the fake news goblin.
David is CNN. God damn, that stream is so fucking laggy. You got like fucking 10 FPS going on right now, man.
Yeah, that's my own Wi-Fi. I'm sorry. It's shitty, I know.
Disappointing.
That's
alright, though. We'll make do.
We will make do. Hopefully, we will have a, better... Yeah, I'm gonna turn down the bitrate. Hopefully that'll help.
It looks like I'm watching a fucking Half-Life video from, like, 2005.
I mean...
Or just, like, any YouTube video from 2005 about Half-Life. It's that level of quality.
Thank you. It's authentic. Oh, look, it's a gun.
Whoa, man, I'm against that shit.
Well, if they got it over there, maybe we can jump it back to this side.
Not very good. I'm trying to think of that, like, that screen capture software that has the thing, like the actual watermark on the top of the screen. It reminds me of, like, that stream reminds me of videos that are recorded with that. It's of the same quality. And I think that's so fucking hilarious. No worries. Yeah, no worries. Oh, authentic is just one way of describing it. I wouldn't describe it as authentic, but that's just me.
It's only a Bandicam video if it comes from the
Bandicam!
No. I was saying, it's only a Bandicam video if it comes from the Bandicam region of France. Otherwise, it's just sparkling video compression.
Yeah.
See, that's my hilarious comedy joke of the day. Thank you for coming.
He's here all night. Put subtitles on. You do have subtitles on. Never mind.
Yeah, I do have subtitles. Not for me.
Okay, the thing is a little delayed. No, not for you. We don't want any of that.
Yeah.
Yes. You want to describe to the audience what's happening right now? You want to tell them what's happening in the game? Where are you up to? What are you doing?
I don't know.
Oh my god, this guy never pays attention.
Yeah, I'm not paying attention to my own game right now.
He disappoints me.
What am I doing, William?
So there's a car that you gotta go and find, so you
I
can get
found
the fuck out of there. And basically, you gotta get to the Rebels' base of operations to shut down the Combine from sending in reinforcements. And to do that, you need to get to this place called White Forest. And White Forest is where you need to go, and that's where the base of operation is located. And to get there, you need to find a fucking car. And you were supposed to meet some rebels in the area that you're in currently, but they're fucking dead. And because they're dead, you gotta do it by your lonesome. And that is where we are right now. And it's just trying to get through to the other side, to get to the bridge, to get the car. Roll credits. That's it. That's just the stream. So what do you think of the Half-Life games? What are your thoughts on them? You've played pretty much every single one of them so far. What are your thoughts?
They're okay.
They're okay?
I'm not too invested in the story. It seems very, it's very not, it seems that there's not that much to write home about in terms of the story. The gameplay and the game design and the game mechanics are pretty solid. And I think that's its strength. The sci-fi world, the characters, they're serviceable, but they're not, it's nothing that I'm terribly excited by or into. It's nothing that I haven't seen before. Put it that way.
Fair enough.
And that's not necessarily to say that it's bad either.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from with the story stuff. But, like, there's this level of intrigue for me still, which makes me always want to come back for them. I do agree there's always room for improvement, but I do agree that the main appeal with these games is just the gameplay and the game mechanics and all that stuff.
The game,
because that's what Half-Life games are. That's what Half-Life games are, really. It's just technical demos, right? Just tech demos for Valve's new softwares, and they add story and gameplay, make it a whole game to basically showcase that. That's what a lot of the Half-Life games have been, if not all the Half-Life games so far. Like, that's what they've been. And I think with the intent of making these games, the intent that Valve has, it's not an easy thing to make games that are that popular and successful when you just want to, like, your goal is to essentially create tech demos, if you know what I mean. And I feel like the fact that they've been able to create tech demos and showcase their technology whilst also creating this, like, immersive game series, I guess, is, I think, pretty impressive. I guess that brings us to the next question. What's been your favorite Half-Life game?
Well,
Half-Life 2 game, I guess.
Half-Life 1. So, of course, it's Half-Life.
That bad, no? Well, I mean, in like the episodes, do you prefer Half-Life 2, Half-Life 2 Episode 1, or Episode 2?
I feel that part of it is the fact that I've been playing these games on screen. So it's a very different video game experience than it would be if I just played it by my lonesome to absorb the experience, let's say. To use the original French.
I agree.
But that said, I think that I appreciate personally really cohesive experiences. Mm-hmm. And I think that the Half-Life 2 fits really well together within itself. And you can't necessarily say that of Half-Life 1 and Episode 1 and Episode 2. Not to say that they're necessarily bad, but it's just to say that they're they're less complete experiences.
I see what you mean. Yeah, I mean that was kind of the point with the episodic content, is that they weren't necessarily meant to be. Well, think of them as acts, right? Episode 1 was meant to be Act 1 of a complete story. Episode 2 was meant to be the second act, and Episode 3 was meant to be the third act. But
there was no.
Right, that's the other thing. But the thing with the episodic content, was that it was just an experiment that Valve wanted to do, and the whole point behind that was to release games quicker, instead of waiting years, however long that would be, for like a sequel to Half-Life or Half-Life 2 or whatever. They would just release these episodic contents, just snippets of a full game that kind of tie into the other one, so that they could just pump out these games quicker. But the thing with that is they would try to like pump in as much effort into it, so it's not just like cash grabs. But yeah, the whole point of that was just to make it so that the game dev process and the publishing process and all that was just so much quicker than just waiting a couple of years for the next title to come out. The thing with Episode 3 was they were actively working on the game, but they just couldn't find something that was fun. And that's kind of what Valve prioritizes, just fun over anything else. Story is cool, sure, you could do a bunch of cool stuff with the story, but like it's a game, so the gameplay and the fun factor has to be the most priority. And when Episode 3 was being made, they didn't feel like they kind of hit that, or that they quite hit that, so it just never ended up coming out. At what point, though, the episodic content, that whole formula and that whole business model just got shut down. And so Half-Life Episode 3 turned into Half-Life 3 for a bit. But, the rest is history.
I love that. Look, I blew the thing off, and you can see the guy's head, the guy's tortured, disgusting head underneath the crab.
Do you know what they say when... Because you hear him screaming with their own fire. Do you know what they say?
No.
It's basically... they speak backwards, right? So they record the sound audio, and they reverse it. And basically all that they're screaming is, "Oh God, help me, please, no," like all that. They're just like screaming for help. Because the whole thing with the headcrabs and their hosts is that once the headcrab attaches itself onto you, it basically takes control of you. And you're fully conscious of that the whole time. But it's just the headcrab controlling you. And you feel everything that the headcrab feels. You feel the pain, you feel all of that. It's just that you can't control any of your actions. And so when they're being birthed, that's supposed to like represent that kind of. So I like that they tell the stories through gameplay. And it's not just exclusively through cutscenes or through scripted moments.
Oh, look at that guy. Looks like he's having a nice day. See him? Right there?
You're a bit delayed, so I'm going to have to wait for like a quick second. You're going up the stairs right now.
Okay, well, you'll see him in a moment.
Picking up a gun. Blasted a crate. Moritaka Ishida says, more games should learn from Half-Life Alex and just use a shader for liquid in bottles instead of instead of the in-game fluid stimulation, which never seems to get better no matter how realistic a game is. I agree with that. Also, yeah, I see him. I don't know how late... Okay, never mind, he picked it up. I was about to say, you could use that thing and you could, like, launch it at enemies. And you can cut them in half.
I've played Half-Life 2.
Oh, I forgot that you did that in that game.
Yeah, remember Darkholm? That whole city? That whole section of the game?
Yeah. It was Ravenholm.
Probably the most fun I had in that game.
They were gonna make a 4th episode, which is interesting considering the 3rd one never came out, but the 4th episode was gonna be about Adrian Shepard. He's a character that you play in one of the expansion packs in the first game. And that whole game was gonna be set in Ravenholm. Like that level of Half-Life 2 that you really liked. And you were going to be playing as him. You're going to be helping out the NPC that helped you out.
That Andre, the
name.
crazy preacher guy.
Father Gregorian. You're going to be helping him out to basically, like, I guess, wipe out the head crabs and like the Zen infestation from Ravenholm. But something happens along the way, and the plan doesn't exactly work, and shit goes down. And from the sound of it, it sounded like a really cool concept, and the gameplay stuff that they did was really cool. They basically gave you this nail gun that, depending on where you place, you could actually like redirect electricity, and you could use that to power stuff up or shut things down. And that was like so creative. It was like out of the box thinking right there, and I really appreciated them for that. But because episode 3 never came out, they had to shut down the production on episode 4, and so we never got to see that game. Which is unfortunate because they showed us gameplay footage. They gave us a quick synopsis of what the story was going to be. They showed us a bunch of stuff, and it looked really, really cool. I forgot the company that was developing it. It wasn't Valve. They outsourced the game to another company. I'll see if I can remember what it was called.
Tell me, if Valve was so good, why wasn't there Valve 2?
Maybe they aren't as good. I don't know.
So I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Are you excited for the Snyder Cut?
I'm interested. I won't say I'm excited.
Why are you not
I do want to see what it's about.
Are you saying you don't like Daddy Snyder Cut?
I would never diss my Lord and Savior right now. But I don't know, I'm just not really that interested in superhero movies anymore. Like, I mean, I'm interested, I'm just not as excited.
Superhero movies now? Are you learning to appreciate real cinema or something? Like, are you watching, like Martin Scorsese movies or something?
A little bit. But yeah, I'm just not really that excited or hyped for superhero stuff anymore. I mean, I'll always be interested in seeing what they do, and you know, the shit that they bring to the table, and the concepts, the stories that they tell. But I don't think I'll ever be as excited for them as I once was. And I don't know how to feel about that because it's such a different feeling to a franchise or a product that you've always just been, I don't know, a fan of, I guess. And I don't know, maybe that's just like a part of growing up, right? I don't know. I don't want to be this generic, you know. I don't want to sound generic and say that, you know, this means I'm growing up, because that would imply that, you know, it would imply that in liking them, then you still haven't grown up, which isn't true, I don't think. But it's just something that's been happening to me as of late, and it is a different experience. It's a unique experience, and it's kind of weird. But
maybe a better way of saying that would be saying that as you grow, it's a thing that's happening.
Yeah, I think that, you know, I think that's a better way of phrasing it. The more I grow up, or I don't know, actually, I don't know if that's a better way of phrasing it, because it's saying that it's a thing that progressively happens the more I grow up, which I don't know if it's true.
It sounds like that's the way you're perceiving. I'm not going to say that that's absolutely true. It's just the way that you're framing it to me.
That's fair. I don't know. My point is, I'm just not as interested anymore.
You're enjoying cinema as an art form. How dare you?
Thank you, 12-year-old on Twitter.
I'm smart because I'm making fun of other people for liking things.
Thank you, 12-year-old on Twitter. I really appreciate that.
Yes.
But yeah, the point of that,
yes,
the whole point of that,
years old. How
just
did
to
you
say,
say?
Something gave it away. But the whole point of that was just to say, it's not something that I'm just interested in anymore, or that I'm hyped for.
How dare you?
But yeah, I don't know. I wouldn't say I'm hyped for the Justice League Snyder Cut movie. That was the whole point of that. I dragged that on for like way longer than I should have.
Did.
Fuck you.
This is what happens when Xavier's not here, I guess.
God damn. I'm just trying to make conversation. Yeah. Snyder Cut. Not really hyped. Interested though. That's just TLDR.
Can't you wait for? Aren't you excited for Jared Leto's Joker getting an expanded role?
So anyway,
no. Jared Leto, everybody's favorite part-time cult leader, full-time actor, part-time music.
Jared Leto's Joker design looks like he was just eating ass and just came out just all over the place, and he just never like washed his mouth ever since.
What? That is such a bizarre, like.
His mouth, it's just covered in shit. I don't. It's such a weird design. The whole smile, dude. That whole it's okay. It's almost like he just fucking finished eating I don't know, mud cake, and that was it. He just never washed his mouth or wiped it ever again or anything. It looks bad. It looks bad.
It's just
It's okay. I can say these things. Nobody watches these streams.
Yeah, especially because Xavier's not here.
Yeah. It's kind of weird that
So
I don't know. I wouldn't say it's weird. It's more interesting. Hold on. Actually, no. You go. You go.
I'm still very bizarrely off-put by your description of Jared Leto's Joker makeup. I'm
Just like the mouth area, the whole smile makeup thing. It looks way too dark and brown. The way it's shaped is just very weird and unnatural looking. It doesn't look like.
Did you see that? I phased through the thing for a second and I saw the map.
There's the light, remember?
No.
Are you putting boxes down?
Anyway, so
Bless you.
I don't know. I'm
Oh yeah, I saw that.
I'm not gonna watch like 4 hours of Zack Snyder. So I don't think he's a good filmmaker, and I don't think he's good at like making. Honestly, he is so. That's like the worst of Zack Snyder, you know, the way he wastes your time by making things so much more longer and more complicated than it really needs to be, or has any right.
Yeah, we talked about that in like earliest.
Like, my God, Batman vs Superman is so fucking long.
Yeah, she could have cut out like a big chunk of that.
And then
I think what we were saying last
by
time.
saying, "Oh no, the extended cut is better." It's like, no, we don't need more of this. We need less of this.
The extended cut just adds like a few scenes of character doing shit, and like that's just it.
This
It
is
doesn't.
what happens.
It doesn't. It's not a case of like this one scene will fix the movie. It's a case of this scene just adds more like cool looking stuff in the movie,
So,
and that
okay,
doesn't mean it's better.
So there's this quote from like from a reviewer for Variety, I think. No, it was like one of the Hollywood trades who so he reviewed It Part 2, right? And he wrote for a long time in mid-brow entertainment, not to say like lowbrow entertainment is completely worthless, but like in pop entertainment, from going all the way back to say like Lord of the Rings and like you know like fantasy novels and stuff, there's a sense in which length confers a false sense of quality, and that's what I think of when I think of Zack Snyder, because it's like, no, you have to watch the full version. Oh, we're gonna get the Snyder cut. Then we're finally gonna see like the real, we're gonna get the real quality stuff finally, and it's like, what?
I agree with that.
We have like seen it.
I also want to say people have a hard time letting go of things nowadays, and I don't know how I feel about that. I know that's not true. I know how I feel about that, and I don't like it. I think it's worthless. You're wasting your time on something that could definitely be made better, but you're holding it back because you're you can't let go of that other thing that just wasn't successful, and for whatever reason, you're defending it with everything that you have.
Okay, so here's
and I think that's just
here's the
a
exact
waste of energy.
So here's the exact quote, and it's so devastating. I just had to repeat it, which is from the Lord of the Rings saga to the Avengers sequels. Length confers a kind of false legitimacy on middle-brow entertainment, no matter the medium. I'm just like, damn, Variety reviewer, you didn't have to go that hard, but he did.
I agree, man. Like,
it's like
I feel like the whole thought process behind that is,
you know, like if there's
the
more, it's better. It's like higher brow almost, and I was like,
yeah,
I really feel that, you know, like apparently, like if there's more, then maybe it'll finally be legitimized.
I feel like the whole thought process behind that is, if we can make it really long, then we can explain every single tiny
Snyder, like,
little fucking detail to make it seem like it's a good thing, or
also,
to try and make
can I
it a good
just
thing.
say one thing about this, which is, let's stop viewing the Snyder Cut as anything but Zack Snyder being rewarded for being unprofessional. Because, like, let's be very clear about this, because after Batman vs. Superman, Batman vs. Superman is basically a 3-hour movie if you include the extended cut. After that, Warner Brothers management was very clear to Zack Snyder that they wanted a 2-hour movie. And, you know, he didn't deliver that. He shot a 4-hour movie. And it's like, you need to
Are you telling me?
The only reason that we need a Snyder Cut is because Zack Snyder didn't do his job in the first place. Like, he shouldn't be rewarded for being unprofessional.
I mean, the whole thing with Justice League, I can understand why people would be frustrated, because, okay, imagine Star Trek, right? I know you won't, like, feel the same way, and you have, like, a completely different mindset coming to this, but let's just try to relate to that. Because I can understand where a lot of people come from, but think, you know, there's a Star Trek trailer coming out, and the final product, or the trailer promises this, like, great final product, and the director is somebody you really love, and you've loved all their works and everything they've done, and that movie that's gonna be coming out with the Star Trek and shit is gonna be, like, fucking amazing, mind-blowing. It's gonna have everything. It's gonna have good story. It's gonna have a conclusion to shit. It's gonna have a follow-up to the previous stuff, you know, to the previous movies that came before it. You know, it was gonna be this fucking amazing experience.
I died.
Only for, like, the last minute for the director to drop out for whatever reason. In this case, it's a family matter. To be replaced by somebody else, right? And that somebody else has done a pretty good movie, right? Like in 2012, he delivered this amazing spectacle movie that everybody loved, that kickstarted this new direction for a film franchise. He's on that project now, and he's working and you know, trying to finish off the work that this other director has been doing. But he feels that the movie should go a different way. And you, as a consumer, you say, what could possibly go wrong? He did a thing before that was really successful.
I agree with, I recognize what you're saying, but I think there's a couple bad premises in your argument that we need to deal with. First of all, which is that you're ignoring the corporate angle of this, first of all.
Oh yeah, no, I'm just telling you, like, people wanted the Snyder Cut for you know, as desperately.
And that's not something that's unfair to talk about. Even the Snyder Cut fans think that the corporate argument is very important. They will view it as the corporation is, you know, is going against Daddy Zack Snyder, Cinema Daddy. But
yeah, oh, they're not. I hate that. I've seen that shit on Twitter.
No,
I think it's ridiculous.
They believe that, like, Warner Brothers was, like, actively targeting Zack Snyder, and they hated him, and they tried to get rid of his product or something. But the point I'm going with here is that, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. But just, I don't know. I don't. But, like, I know how that feels. But I'm also like, at some point, I've moved on. Because
Oh no, I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you.
I personally think that J.J. Abrams did a lot of damage to the Star Trek franchise in those movies that at one point I actually liked. But at the same time, I'm not spending my days going, release the, I don't know, blankety blank cut of blankety blank movie. I'm like, I've accepted
I agree with
those
you.
movies are not what I want them to be, and now I'm just
I perfectly agree with you.
doing
Like
other things
100%.
with my life.
No, you and I are on the same page with that. I think the whole movement is ridiculous, but I'm just trying to like, I don't know. I guess I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of these people and trying to like relate to why they want that.
I'm disagreeing with you on is that conspiracy is part of the appeal, because there's this myth that, and I was trying to say this earlier, there's this myth that there could have been a good version of this movie if it were only for, you know, getting rid of, if it weren't for Joss Whedon and Warner Brothers or whatever. And I think that that's part of the problem that I don't think addressing is sufficient. If you understand.
I think I might have missed that point initially.
Well, I don't think I said it properly, but I think it's something that needs to be done.
I see where you're coming from. I agree with that. Like the whole basically what you're saying is the reason why people were so adamant on the Snyder Cut is because they thought that the studio screwed Zack over and they want like justice for him or whatever. But really what it is that Zack didn't follow the guidelines for the movie and tried to like he kind of overshot the scope for what he was asked to do.
It's a classic example of an artist thinking that the rules don't really apply to them, and like there's this, you know, like you need to be a good sport and work within the system. Like I understand that a lot of the times the system screws you over, but you still need to, at the end of the day, work within the limits that are set.
I agree. I do think he tried to overshoot what he was allocated, or what was given to him, or the scope that he had to work under. And you know, I agree with you there.
You know, like your boss says, "Okay, I want to sell 20 cookies today, or whatever." You know, like I want this amount of product from you, and you don't say no. I'm gonna do more than that.
And like not hand anything in because you wanted to do more than what you were asked.
It's like you're saying like I want 10 cookies in 20 minutes or whatever, but you say like no, I want to make 30 cookies. So then you make,
and I won't give you the 10 because I said
enough dough for 30 cookies, but then you don't have time for anything else.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. You and I are on the same page.
So what am I doing?
You know, regarding
where do I go? What do I do?
So, you know what? Figure it out on your own. What just happened is you got the car, you get in the car, and then a fucking a wave, shock a wave, or whatever the fuck you call it, just like a big blast, made the bridge uneven. And now the other side of the bridge is tilting over, and there's a bunch of cars on that bridge that are really, really heavy. And you need to basically... Did you actually? I see you going back to your car right now. Oh no, don't tell me. Oh no. I haven't seen what you did yet. I see it now. Alright. It ends here, the 3 minutes filth. I've actually never seen that scheme. That's cool.
So you haven't died before in this game?
No, well, not in this section. What you gotta do is you gotta get to the other side of the bridge, and you gotta push the cars to one way to basically make a ramp so that the car can travel to the other side.
Okay, well, I just pushed all the cars off.
All of them?
Yeah.
Didn't leave one.
Didn't leave one.
That should be interesting. I don't know what... I've never tried to do that in this game. I don't know what happens. Did the, like, bridge level itself?
Yeah.
That's really interesting.
See?
The fact that they were able to hide that from like 90% of players is, I think, in and of itself pretty impressive. Because nobody thought to do that.
Except for me, I guess I'm special or something.
Okay, Fuck,
so,
okay.
like,
So now you gotta get back to where the car is.
Yeah.
And you gotta...
So, like, here's an example, right? So, there's
Yeah.
a Star Trek... and, like, there's this guy who was going to do a Star Trek movie. Like, you know,
Yeah.
there's, like... Because, like, there's, like, 3 or 4 different Star Trek movies that I'm thinking about in development right now. Because there's, like... there was a TV show that was almost made in, like, the... Whee! I'm here!
Hold on, I see you walking up the ramp. The little fucking ramp to the bridge. Alright, you're on the grass now. I hate the delay, man. Fuck the delay.
You're on the grass.
I understand why you couldn't share your screen.
Oh, you're
but
on the grass.
fucking grass cunt. Fucking get off the grass, man. Fucking dog.
Hey, I'm from a not American part of the world, man.
What a fucking communist, man. I'm not American.
Ah, yes, the 2 genders. Communist and American.
An American.
We scored. Shotgun. Oh, unless you want it.
I fear a more urgent errand demands.
I'm really disappointed. You know what?
There are
I wasn't gonna say what I was gonna say. I wanted to talk about something. Because I recently went and found the original script for the Iron Man movie. And I was reading through that, and I was remembering the events of the movie. Because I'd seen it pretty recently when I was reading the script. And as I was reading the script, I'm like looking at all of these little fucking differences and little details that were changed. And I've been just like comparing and contrasting everything. And I'm really impressed by the amount of improvisation that the team, the actors, and the CGI artists and the directors had to do last fucking minute while they were shooting the movie. Because there were like events... Okay, the script hits like the main plot beats of the movie. But there are changes. So you get the shit in the cave, that's still in the script in the movie. You get the shit with the Mark II and the test flight, that's still in both versions. You get the whole thing with Golmira, where Iron Man has to fly to the other side of the world, beat a bunch of guys up, blow up a fucking tank the same way that he does in the movie, so on and so forth. But it's just the little details, the little changes are what really stand out to me. And those little changes, I say little changes, but they're actually they're big changes, because while the plot beats are still met, the little details are changed, and what exactly happens and how things lead from one thing to another is completely different. And I was just really intrigued by the way that, you have the plan that's just one thing, and then you have the final product, which is another thing. And I would argue that the final product is way better than the plan, and it has no right to be, because I don't think had I been on the production, had I been the director, I don't see myself being, this isn't gonna work. I have a cooler idea. Let's fucking just change gears, pull a 180 at the last fucking minute, and do this other thing.
That's what you do, like, that's what you need to do when you're like, but like, it's very interesting how different directors have different styles when it comes to this, because somebody like Ridley Scott, he is very, very, very into prep and getting everything ready before
Nobody's home.
shoot.
Wonder how
And
long it's
he
been
sticks
deserted.
very, very, very close to
They
the
must have a
script.
transmitter in one of these
But
buildings.
somebody like, I don't know, Jon Favreau maybe, or another one who's a little bit more improvisation. And there's benefits to both.
Well, to give you an example of what I mean, you remember I don't know if you've surely seen the first Iron Man movie.
Yeah, many years ago, a few years.
You remember the scene where he was like in front of the TV with like the gauntlet in his hand, and he's got the screwdriver, and he's adjusting, a bunch of screws in the gauntlet, and he was just looking at the TV very intently, and then he gets up, fires a blast, and then, like the next minute he just goes up and suits up, and you got like the fucking suit up gantry just like putting on the suit and everything, and you see everything just like all the bolts, being put together and then like tightening and all that. Remember that scene?
Mm-hmm.
In the original script, that shit wasn't there at all.
Oh, interesting.
there was no plans initially to have that. There was no preparation to have that when they were writing the script. And I would assume they were writing the script early 2007, and they shot the movie and finished it. I think they finished shooting by late 2007. And with all of that in mind, I would come to the assumption or the conclusion that they didn't plan for a lot of the shit that happened. Case in point, the thing with the suit-up gantry, or the robots or whatever. Like, that just wasn't a thing. And for them to just, like, put that in the script last minute, that in the movie last minute, and accommodate for CGI, VFX, sound effects, you know, all of that stuff, and still have it look, you know, as good as it does, just blows my mind. Because I was recently in a project with Xavier and Diego on a project that was very similar to that involved a lot of CGI, and involved a lot of, you know, foresight and planning and all of that stuff. And that was within less than a month. I had less than a month to do all the CGI stuff, and I didn't really, like, you know, do a lot of changes from what was required of me, and that still took a lot out of me. And so I'm just putting myself in the perspective of the guys who made that shot last minute.
ILM people are... And
I'm so fucking impressed. I am so impressed by the level of craft, the level of quality, and the resourcefulness that these guys were able to achieve and they were able to demonstrate while making this movie. There have been so many, like, scenes and moments in that movie where the whole fucking team, everybody had to improvise in order to get it to looking good. And it just blows my mind. It just blows my mind.
Context, though. Most of the time when that happens, it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's exactly it. It doesn't work. And so, Iron Man is like one of my favorite movies. It's flawed, but it's one of my favorite movies. I love that movie. There's so many things that are happening in that movie that are cool. It's a well-made movie. With flaws, of course, but it's a well-made movie. And for it to, like, have been as successful as it was, to kickstart this entire fucking universe, and for it to have that development process that it had, with all of the fucking improvisation that it had, and with everything that was going on behind the scenes, for it to turn out the way it did, just blows my mind. And I'm, like, immensely impressed. You don't understand. It's just something that I was looking into the other day, and I was really, really just blown out of my mind. Because I was comparing and contrasting these scenes, I'm like, that is not what happened. Basing Iron Man on the script started listening to Favreau's events and rewriting the script every day of shooting, like they sometimes have 7 different scripts in a week. That's right, that's the other thing. They had to improvise as they were shooting.
I would not.
On top of that, those new scripts tended to have unfinished dialogues, like 80%-ish of the dialogue was in Iron Man 1's improv. That is actually correct. That is correct, that's true.
That explains why the ending was a little bit underwhelming.
The I Am Iron Man?
The ending of Iron Man.
Yeah, but he goes, I am Iron Man?
I am Iron Man, but just the ending fight scene.
Oh, right. It's funny because in the script, it was going to play out this way. You have Stain and Iron Man fighting on the highway, and he's like just stomping on him. And he was about to kill him. And the movie also had this plot point of the suit is draining power away from the arc reactor that powers Tony's heart. And once the suit is completely turned off, it would be because his arc reactor's turned off. And once the arc reactor turns off, he dies. And that whole that movie, the original script that I read focused heavily on that plot point. And so, in that highway scene, Stain, Ironmonger, who in the script was referred to as the Dynamo, like the Crimson Dynamo, which is interesting because the design, the way he behaves, and the pilot is all just Ironmonger. So, I don't know what was with all of that, but anyway. The highway scene, he was stomping on him, he was like about to kill him, and then Rhodey comes in with a car, and with a car, like one of Tony's cars, and he just like rams into him, and he knocks him off, he falls into like a bus, and this big explosion happens. And both Tony and Rhodey look at the bus, and they see nothing moving. That was like 10 minutes. 10 minutes after all the bad happened. So, you know, the conclusion is he's dead. But in the meantime, the arc reactor, the big one in Tony's factory, had like this leak. And what that meant was that it was gonna fucking blow up and take out like you know a bunch of people with it. So what that meant was that Tony had to go to the building, and he had to turn the arc reactor into like some sort of Tesla coil because I don't know, it was just not like fucking scientific moment to jump on that, but basically he had to turn it into a Tesla coil so he can redirect the energy upwards into the sky so that nobody could be harmed, so that the thing itself wouldn't explode. And as that was happening, he was like rewiring a bunch of like satellites and shit, and you could see like I don't know, like a yellow glow behind him. You turn around and Ironmonger's there, blah blah blah, whatever. Fight scene happens, and you know, sometime happens, they fight, and then the thing happens, the thing shoots up in the air. And I was thinking about that, and I'm like, that actually would have been really cool to see in the movie. That was a long fucking rant, and I'm like, I can guarantee you I had a point.
And I'm not 100% following, but whatever.
I'm sorry, I'm just like really fucking like, I'm hyped, dude. Like hyped isn't the right word because the movie came out fucking forever ago, but it's just these ideas make me go so.
2006 movie or 2007.
It doesn't make sense, I know, but I don't know. I'm just stoked. I'm impressed. I'm like back.
You're being a nerd.
I am being a nerd. Have you read the 2005 script for the movie? Wait, 2005 script for the movie was about Tony competing with Howard Stark's company and ended up with Tony versus his dad. And I have not read that. That sounds terrible.
A what?
So there was a script in like 2005 where it was Tony competing his dad, and the ending of that was just Tony as Iron Man fighting his dad as like the villain.
That's very different.
That
from
sounds bizarre.
What they ended up doing.
That sounds bizarre.
Especially how important who killed his parents became later on.
Oh yeah.
Let's keep going. See if we can pick up the road.
There was also an end credit scene in the original script that I read, where it was just Tony and Rhodey designing the War Machine suit, and I found a bunch of concept art from like around the time that show War Machine being like, you know, conceptualized and thought about. And I personally would have loved to see that more than the whole Nick Fury Avengers Initiative thing. Here's the thing with me. I don't
really fucking nerdy. I'm just saying. I would have rather seen Iron Man deciding War Machine than like one of the most iconic moments in movies of the past 20 years. The build up to like a epic crossover. I want to see. I don't like.
I'm not a big fan of crossover events. Oh, you know what? I take that back. Let me rephrase. I like crossover events.
Very funny.
Which one? I'm not looking.
Hey, I know that peak.
There's a delay.
From White Forest.
I'm a fan of crossovers. I feel like the MCU's had a lot of them that I kind of wish they went into other. I see the loading screen now. I wish they went in the direction
for, I don't know, fucking Thor 4 with all of the Avengers in it, or the Guardians of the Galaxy in it, and Natalie Portman.
Careful.
I don't really care about that.
And
what was that?
Valkyrie in it, who's gonna be gay in it or something. And also like.
That's not true. She's fucking. She's dating. What's his name? Warmonger.
I don't know. I remember reading something about her. They were going to expand on her being bi or something in that movie, or at least that was like an early rumor. But like,
I don't know.
There's going to be her. There's going to be Natalie Portwoman. There's going to be less portly Thor. There's going to be. Oh, there's an advisor here. A visor. Oh, the advisors are really interesting. I like the advisors. Yeah. Apparently they wanted to... Oh, hold on. No.
There's a couple of concepts for that. The studio tried so hard to get Sony on board with getting Spidey in the universe. They wanted a line drop in. They wanted a line drop in Iron Man 1 where Tony says Stark Industries built Otto's arms from Spidey 2. They also wanted Toby as Peter in the Incredible Hulk at the university. See, I appreciate those type of crossovers because they don't feel forced. And I feel like the crossovers in the MCU feel a little bit too forced because in every movie that you see, it's always just. Remember that one time when that one thing happened?
Anybody remember that really ham-fisted Doctor Strange reference in WandaVision?
We found our advisor.
What do you mean?
Remember when he said when Agatha was talking to Wanda and she said, "You're more powerful than the Sorcerer Supreme." I'm like, oh, we get it.
I thought that was fine. I'm more talking about like movies like Spider-Man: Homecoming, where Iron Man, it was just it's in the movie.
Really bad for that. That was really cringy for me on that respect. Was Captain Marvel.
I actually haven't seen that yet.
Okay, so Captain Marvel. The bad thing about that movie is that it answers so many questions that do not need to be answered. And one of them is it shows how Nick Fury got his eye.
Oh yeah, I hated that so much, dude.
And
Look,
also,
this is the kind of.
And also, it explains where they got the name Avengers from, in like the most stupid way possible. And it's also like, oh yeah, like the Tesseract, you know, the thing that was the MacGuffin in Captain America and the Avengers. It was also here for like 5 minutes, but like, it's like we don't need to be reminded of that again, and it doesn't really serve a purpose.
I don't like that. I was talking to Xavier the other like week or month or whatever when we were watching the Alien movies, and he said something to me. We were talking about like the way Ridley Scott wanted to explain that one scene from Alien with the with like the fucking elephant kind of like skeleton type of thing with like the fucking chest being just exploded.
The space jockey.
Right, the space jockey. And he was telling me we were kind of talking, going back and forth, and basically that's why the prequels exist. It's to like Ridley Scott just wanted to explain that.
No, I think there's more.
And
but anyway,
well, that was kind of like that's where the idea sort of came from with it. It's like, oh well, that one scene where the blah blah blah.
Where do I? Okay, pause for 1 second. Where do I go? What do I do here? So I'm looking at the advisor, and what this like thing here? What do I do?
There's a little ball that you gotta blast with your gravity gun. Just left click on it.
Oh.
Yeah, that's all you can do. And what he was telling me was there were some things.
Oh no, the advisor is here. Alex Vance is hovering and it's a giant worm.
There are some things that are like better left unexplained because the theories and the explanations that you can come up with yourself.
I just want to look at the psychic worm for a second.
Okay.
It's a psychic worm. It's poking the dead body. Ooh. Oh no! It's licking our dead comrade, and now blood's coming out of him.
It's sucking his brains out.
What?
It's sucking his brains out.
And now it's like the worm from. It's like the brain bugs from Starship Troopers. Have you seen that?
No.
Oh no, it's the brain bug. You need to see Starship Troopers. It's good.
What's it about?
It's about fascism and space fascism. What happened to the brain the advisor?
So
you okay, Alex Vance?
You basically shut off its life support thing, and it hatched a little too early, and the thing started malfunctioning.
Okay.
It was hurt. Did you see it? I can only imagine what it would have done if.
So yeah, he got a bunch of shit stuck in him. And he left, and he's probably dead now. Probably. But yeah, going back to what I was saying, Xavier was telling me there's some things that don't need to be explained because a lot of what you can think of yourself and the theories that you can make yourself and the explanations that you can give to these things yourself are so much more interesting than whatever else they could think up of to like add into the canon. And I thought about that for a bit, and I feel like that just completely applies to Captain Marvel and like a lot of what the MCU does. Not everything needs to be explained. Not everything needs to have a fucking, a canonical explanation or a scene to explain it or to show what happened. Some things can just be left unsaid and unexplained, and it would be way more interesting than whatever you can fucking think of.
And this is why I like Dark Phoenix better than WandaVision.
I disagree with you.
Yeah, I just could be wrong.
Okay, yeah, David. Scrubbz gonna DM me some earlier stuff. I have Discord open. Feel free to hit me up. I feel like that's why I'm not as excited for MCU shit anymore. I'm excited for Doctor Strange. I like Sam Raimi stuff. I like what he does. I like the Spider-Man stuff. I haven't seen much of his other stuff, but just going off of what he did in Spider-Man, I like what he did. And Doctor Strange is a superhero character, and I want to see what he does with that.
Xavier has a special hatred for Doctor Strange 1.
Oh, I do too. I was watching a couple of clips of it back then, like a while back. I say clips because I not bothered seeing the movie again. And I noticed that like 90% of those movies and 90% of the Marvel movies is just slapstick comedy and just like, I don't know, forced comedy. Like there was a scene where he wanted to get a book that was too advanced for him, and he was like fucking, pressuring Wong to give it to him. And he's like, bro, I don't know, he makes like a comment about Beyonce or whatever. Something along the lines of, do you hate Beyonce or something? And then like in the next shot, Doctor Strange is stealing the book while Wong has earphones in listening to fucking Beyonce music. And I'm like, that's the driest fucking thing ever. That's not even funny.
Soldiers.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just like a thing that the MCU has been doing ever since Avengers. Because that was a hit movie, and I guess the studio just wanted...
So here's something I want you to look up just for fun. I want you to look up... Okay, I'm gonna send it to you, actually. This is a deleted scene from... Have you seen the deleted scene in the church from Doctor Strange?
Yeah, don't they like behead someone and like they fucking let the blood fall into
Mads Mikkelsen murders a priest and he says God doesn't exist to this priest's face, and he's like, I'm gonna prove to you God exists, and then he just fucking kills him. It's great.
God damn. I've seen that actually.
Yeah. I think that here's my hot take about Doctor Strange 1 is that it has some interesting visual ideas and some fun stuff that it plays with, but it just doesn't really... It doesn't do that much with those ideas beyond just,
I
look
agree.
at this thing. It's like all like the kaleidoscopes and the alternate worlds and like the sort of very psychedelic angle of it, and it's like, that's fine, I like that fine, but...
Yeah, that was like the coolest aspect of the movie.
He doesn't...
That's what they had in every trailer, because that was the selling point.
They don't just, like, do anything beyond that, beyond just going like, look at this thing that's cool. Like, isn't this cool? Like, yes, it is cool. But you're kind of running it into the ground.
Yeah. I'm hoping Doctor Strange 2 is so much better than 1.
Yeah.
So
like, I would say that's also kind of the thing with like. So I have two criticisms of WandaVision, which are somewhat related. Which is the first, it's the most obvious version of everything. Is that it lacks no subtlety. It completely lacks subtlety and ambiguity in its storytelling. Mm-hmm. So that it feels this need to spell everything out for the audience ad nauseum. But beyond that, it also connects. It makes it like I wanted there to be just this weird, story by itself, and I didn't want that. Once it sort of opens up the story to be a normal Marvel story, opens it up to the limits and sort of requirements of the MCU. That's what it sort of becomes like.
I agree. I liked it more when, like in the first 2 episodes, you know, you get these glitches that are happening. Like you get these really ominous cuts. I just love the ominous cuts that you get in the first 2 episodes, where like normal shit is happening, blah blah blah, normal sitcom, and then Wanda looks like misconstrued, whatever, and then boom, cut, and then something happens, or like the scene just replays itself a bit differently, and that's very subtle, but it's very noticeable and it's there, and I like that.
It's also like
because it doesn't draw too much attention to itself.
Your audience is smart. You know, we get what's going on. We understand that this is a woman who's creating this world to deal with her grief. You know, we don't need you to spell it out constantly. Yeah, like we get it. This is her fantasy world, and it's falling apart at the edges because you can't. You message about grief, can't get away from the world, you know, have to accept it, blah, 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 blah. It's like, we get what you're trying to say here. You don't need to spell it out constantly for us every single second with comedy FBI guy from Ant-Man and also...
comedy science lady from Thor.
Comedy science lady from the first Thor movie. I mean, it must be nice for her to get some more work.
Like I said last stream, they know their audience. Davil completely fucked that up. That would have been really cool if you got it right. You fucked it up. There's a delay. What I'm saying probably happened like fucking 30 seconds ago, but it was like a ramp that you were gonna just fucking, you know, go off on. And there was like a fucking billboard in front of you. It was right after the loading screen, and you fucked it up miserably. Can we agree that the next time we play a Half-Life game on these streams, I'm the one playing them? Cool, thanks.
I mean, if you want to play it on your channel, go ahead.
No, I want to play them on these streams. There's more clout to be had on these streams than on my channel. I'm kidding. You're doing a good job, though. You're actually doing a good job. I'm being a little bit of a fucking prissy nitpicker.
I appreciate you retroactively undoing your insult from previous times, but I still understand that you're looking down on me, and I'm very angry at you for that.
Well, I think what it is that I played these games so many times, I'm like, well, obviously you gotta do it that way. That, like, I don't think I fully realize that people might not have played these games before. And that they may not be as experienced with these chapters as I am, because I've played them so many times. So I think I'm just being, like, unfairly harsh towards you. I know this is an unpopular opinion, but I really love Hulk 2008 because, unlike the rest of the MCU, it feels like this is really interesting. It feels like this really interesting isolated character study for the Hulk and has style.
It has its moments.
I agree. I agree with what you said. It does feel like its own story, and I miss that about Marvel movies. That's why I love Iron Man 1 so much. It's why I dislike Iron Man 2, and it's why I'm kind of on Iron Man 3. Although Iron Man 3 has a bit more going on that make me go about just that. I miss that about the earlier Marvel movies, just in general. Like Spider-Man, Iron Man, Thor, I guess, to some extent.
Okay, so I have an unpopular opinion here. Which this might be... I recognize your critiques of all these, but I also like the Ant-Man movies because I think they're perfectly charming and they're fun. They're not, like, heavy or, you know...
Oh, yeah, Ant-Man does a good job of isolating itself from everything else, actually. I forgot about these movies.
I like the Ant-Man movies. I'm sorry.
I like the first one.
Them, so like I feel like I have to constantly apologize for liking them.
We should keep moving.
I like the first one.
I have no idea where I'm going.
I thought the second one was like okay. I thought it was a bit uninspired though. You were going the right way. Turn around. Oh wait, there's a delay. So the tunnel that you... the tunnel that you came out of. So there's a tunnel on the left and on the right. You came from the one on the right. You gotta go through the tunnel on the left, but it's like a fucking burning thing. send a bunch of environmental stuff. Yeah, I'm looking at them right now. I'll give you my thoughts on the things privately. It'd be a bit awkward if I talked about them right now because somebody knows what I'm talking about. I'm assuming there's still a delay. There is still a delay. Why am I assuming that? I mean, why did I say that? There is a delay. Yeah, right there. Just keep going. Yeah, you just gotta up that ramp. Up that ramp. There you go, buddy. Nice.
Oh crap! We may have to ditch the car.
I'm gonna be fair to you right now. I also struggled with this section a little bit. So I'm like, am I going the right way?
Yeah.
But then you realize that you are going the right way. What do you think of the car sections in this game?
I don't mind.
Xavier doesn't like those sections. He thinks they're not the worst. He doesn't think they're bad. He just doesn't think they're the strongest part of the... They're more of the weakest parts of the episode. I like them. I think they're really neat and cool.
I think they're not as well designed
I found a first aid pack.
as the first person section.
Yeah.
So I think that the engine works better. This sort of everything, the way the game is set up, it works better. Those sections, these sections, the car sections don't work as well with the way everything's designed. So, I
can understand where you're coming from. Actually, I don't disagree, but I don't think they're bad sections. I still like them, prefer them. I think they're really fun little neat sections you can play through. Alright, do you understand what you have to do in this one?
What?
Do you know how to defeat the helicopter?
No.
You know what? You know what? I want to see how you do it first. I want to see if you're able to figure it out. Yo, Scrubbz, ever played Half-Life? HLF, Half-Life, right? Or is it HL and F? HL for Half-Life and F is something else. I'm assuming you're saying Half-Life. Half-Life custom maps. Those are popular. I've never played Half-Life custom maps, but I've seen videos about them. The reason I haven't played them is that I'm not too big on modding my Half-Life games. I don't know exactly how that works, and I don't have time to learn, or I've never really found the time to learn how to do them. So I just watch videos about them. But I do like what I've seen. I'm a fan of a lot of the stuff people have done. Somebody like remade the whole Stanley Parable game, but like in Half-Life 2, and I thought that was really funny. Because Stanley Parable is made in the same engine that Half-Life 2 is made in, the Source engine. So the guy just basically took everything of the game that made Stanley Parable and just like put it in Half-Life 2 and used the Half-Life 2 assets. Also, you figured it out.
Yeah.
That's awesome. I love that little section. It makes you think outside the box.
I think I picked it up pretty easily, but I was like, that seems like a lot of work, so I don't want to do that. So I just stopped doing it, and I'm like, oh, I guess I have to. Oh, well. That was literally my thought process. But anyway, I will take a 1 or 2 second break, and I will be right back. Talk with the audience, or don't. I will hand over control of the computer to you. I'm sure that you will do well.
Let me play. Give me controller. Chuck it over. Oh wait, Stanley Parable. Wait. Stanley Parable started as a Half-Life 2 mod? I wasn't aware of that. I thought Stanley Parable came first, and then somebody made the Half-Life 2 mod in Half-Life 2. That made no sense. Somebody remade Stanley Parable in Half-Life 2. I thought that's how it went. I guess I'm mistaken. Whoops. Have I heard of Hunt Down the Freeman? Unfortunately, I have. Thank you for asking. I have a lot of opinions on Hunt Down the Freeman. I love Pyrocynical's video on that game. I thought it was really funny. The editing is really well made. I love the little bits and skits in that. If you want my opinion on that game, just watch that video. I think it's just masterfully done. It's funny. I've been low-key considering getting the game and just playing it. Maybe like stream it on Twitch or something. I don't know. It'd be funny though. Is Firewatch worth playing? Absolutely, dude. Firewatch is like one of my favorite games. I like it. I love it. Firewatch is a really neat art style. It's got really neat gameplay. It's a walking sim, but it's interactive. And so it's not just like you walking around. There's shit to do. It's got an immersive story. I highly recommend it. I think Firewatch is a masterpiece. I think when I was like younger, back when Firewatch came out, I would confuse it with Overwatch. I think that was the game I would confuse it with. I think it's because like they both had watch in the title. But I know that I confused it with another game that had either fire or watch in it. Another Freeman seems like a Sonic 06 experience. I've never played Sonic 06. I'm assuming that means it's bad. I need to buy Hunt Down the Freeman. Still, absolutely don't do that. Don't do that. Don't waste your money like that.
Hello. Sorry to drop out for a second. It's just that I suddenly got a little bit of a headache, so I just had to run out and take some aspirin.
God damn. You alright?
Yeah, I think that... I don't know, there's something about the motion of this game that doesn't sit right with me.
Do you get motion sickness from it?
I do, yeah.
I give the Combine.
That's interesting. I don't think I've heard anybody complain about motion sickness in like the original Half-Life games.
I got it with Half-Life 2 as well, like the regular game. There's something about this specific game and this specific style that just hits that. It gives me that.
That's interesting. Well, I hope it doesn't make you feel like that for the rest of it.
Uh-huh. Well, I think I just needed to take a break.
Yeah. Get yourself some water, man. Drink up. Keep yourself healthy. Is Hunt Down the Freeman that shitty fan game with I Hate Everything and Keemstar voicing characters in it? That is it. Yeah, that's exactly it. I feel like if you just want to experience the game, watch a walkthrough. Don't play it. Because watching a walkthrough is just, like... I don't mean to trash the developers. I'm sure they put a lot of work into it, but... Like, it makes me just dizzy and confused. And it doesn't make me feel good. It's an uncomfortable experience just watching it. And if watching it alone makes me feel that, I don't know how I would feel playing it. I feel like it'd be a lot worse. But I don't know. I would recommend watching it at the very most. I would not recommend buying
Hunt
it.
Down the Free Woman?
I am talking about Hunt Down the Free People.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
I guess what you're saying about that is the way I feel about Pacific Rim 2, you know? Because, like...
Oh yeah, you and Xavier don't like that.
I
haven't seen any of the Pacific Rim movies.
I don't want to hate. I don't want to be mean to filmmakers or talents. and I don't want to insult anybody, but and Xavier will agree with me on this too. I genuinely fucking hate that movie. It makes me angry in a lot of ways that I can't properly describe, and it is genuinely insulting that movie exists.
That bad, huh?
Yeah, that bad.
Goddamn.
It's not. The fact that something like that exists in the world actively makes my existence worse. Like, I don't want to insult people who made it. Like, I'm sure they're perfectly nice people. But, like, that movie makes me angry. It really does. I hate it. I hate it so much. Like, I understand the people involved are trying to make a good movie, but, like, it's genuinely, unforgivably awful that this movie exists. Like,
I'm trying to think of a movie that made me feel that way.
It's so bad. It's like, part of it is that Pacific Rim is so good, right? Have you seen Pacific Rim?
I haven't. I mean, I've seen clips of it on TV, and I thought it was way too cheesy.
It is a joy to watch. It is.
Yeah.
It is cheesy. I will
watch it
grant you
together.
that. It is unrepentantly cheesy, but it is incredibly sincere and very heartfelt, and it is exactly what it is. It's like those Roland Emmerich movies, except with more heart and good.
Mm-hmm.
And then you watch the sequel, and Pacific Rim is like, it's everything that the first movie is, but more corporate, more cynical, and just less good. So anyway,
Damn.
I'm sorry guys, but I'm starting to not feel good, so I'm gonna have to end the stream right now, because I'm just like...
Goddamn.
Just
Quick
like,
final question to answer before we end the stream, because I don't want to leave him hanging. Scrubbz, what is your opinion of Dreams PS4? I'm assuming that's the game where you're able to make a game, like your own type of game with like your own character animations and models and stuff. Right? Is it that one? I don't know. Is that the one that I'm thinking of? Are we thinking of the same one?
I'm thinking it's that game. I haven't played it because I don't have a PS4, but...
If that is the game, I think it's cool. I like it. It's a great way to introduce people into the game design or the game making sort of territory. But that, so anyway, guys, it just kind of eases you into it.
I will see you.
And I appreciate
next
it.
week, hopefully, and hopefully Xavier will be able to join us. So,
I haven't played it, but from what I heard, I like it.
Bye.